So this video intends to show you how to use the project management Excel program on your computer. So it comes as a folder that you can place on your local hard drive if you are only one user, or on a server or a Dropbox folder if there are several users. I'm gonna place mine in my Dropbox folder. There we go. So when I open it, inside there is the Excel file that we use to start the program, and there is a calculations folder, which is where all the different projects are going to be stored in. So let's launch the program. At that point, Excel might ask you if you allow the macros to be running, and you have to answer yes to all the questions. So just some basic security features. You have some buttons on the top left corner of the main page, and we want to click on menu and enter as a guest. You click OK, and you click on first time use. We are now going to configure the Excel sheet, so you can pick a logo if you have any. There you go, or you can check the box if you don't have any logos. Now you need to select the number of users you intend to be, minimum being 1 and maximum being 4. Let's take 3. You have to write 3 letters, initials for each user. You click next. It gives you the password for each user, which are basically the initials themselves. So that's pretty easy to remember. Now you need to choose the numbers of categories you want to have, and that depends pretty much on you and on the organization of your business. Minimum category being 2, maximum being 6. We're going to take here the example of, let's say, a retailer of vacuum cleaners. We produce 3 categories. First category could be for companies private and over the internet. You click next. Now your Excel sheet is properly configured, and this is your main page where the turnovers for the different categories are going to show up. You have here on the left side written your category's name and the bottom lines which are going to sum up the turnover for the 12 different periods. And there is also a bunch of graphs on the right hand side, and also at the bottom. I'll let you take a look at them. It's about turnovers and results and customers' importance in terms of turnover. The second thing we might want to be doing, so you have those bottom and the top left corners to print, to save. We're gonna enter in the menu. I'm gonna select my login and my password. There is this whole bunch of options to add a project, to edit it, to change its level of certainty. But we might want to add some products, so I'm gonna add 2-3 products just to be able to get the program running. You put a price and you select a unit. It could be square meter, cubic meters, kilos, or just unit. In this particular case, we're talking about vacuum cleaners, so obviously I'm gonna choose the unit. Let's make a third one. Alright, now another thing we might want to do is to set a budget, which is about how much of a turnover do we expect to realize. So I'm going to fill in a turnover for the 12 periods. You can come back here anytime if your expectations have changed in the meanwhile. You can set some other figures. Also, if you start using the program in, let's say, October, you don't have to fill in the data for period 1 or 2 or 3. You can start directly from period 10. So I'm filling in the turnover for each period, and you also need to specify gross margin rate, which should be a ratio between 0 and 1. So I'm doing that now. And we confirm. Now, as you can see in the gray section, the budget section, we have the budget which is filled in, and this had as a consequence to also feed in some data to the graphs down below, which basically will compare your realized performances with what you had expected. So turnover, gross margin, and cumulative turnover. Next, we're gonna set some. Yeah, you can always log in as a different person if the user is different. Next, we're gonna set some costs. It could be costs that you expect to have or costs that you already had. So I'm gonna quickly set some fixtures costs. It's just for illustrating the purpose. And now we confirm. Now if we look at the main page, we can see that the costs have been added, and also some graphs have changed. So this is the graph concerning the structure of your costs. As the time goes, you can go back on these costs and change them, of course. Now let's go back to the menu. Now we might want to start adding projects. So you choose your category and give a project name, which could be any kind of name or even a number. Beware not to put any special characters in the name. You have to add a customer name because this is your first project, so of course there are not any customers recorded yet. And you put a supplier's name too. Now you choose the start and the end period of your project. If it's a one-time project, the start period could be the same as the end period. And now you choose the products that are included in the project. So I chose one product, and because I recorded this cost before, I have the purchase cost pre-suggested in a way that you can always change if they don't really correspond to the reality. You can add all sorts of costs: processing, transport, customs, and then you add a turnover. You click on the refresh button to calculate the gross margin and you press next. Now it's going to ask you where is your calculations folder, and that's because it's the first project you're adding. So you go back to your project management folder and show him where the calculation folder is. You just click on it and then you press OK. This is not going to happen again, it's just the first time. And now you choose the level of certainty of your project, if it's already confirmed, very likely, or maybe. And then you click create, and you can see your project has been added with the turnover and the gross margin. On the right hand side you can see the totals for the confirmed project in the companies category, and a graph with showing the turnover per period. At the bottom you can see also your turnover is registered here. A graph depicting the gross margin per category. A chart pie showing the turnover per category too, and so on. Of course, these charts looks funny right now because there is only one project, but it's gonna start making more sense as you add more projects. Cumulative turnover. This is your chart about your customers. So yeah, you have only one customer for now. Um, you have, because we created three categories, we have 3 pages on the right of parameter, and you can go in the category and then find your project, click on its name, and it will direct you towards the project details. You can close it and go back to the main page. I'm gonna now add more projects to populate the main page and show you some other functions. Oh, in the meanwhile, you can also edit the details of your project. For example, the project I just created, um, you can add or remove users, you can change the end period, and you can also modify the turnover of the cost. Let's try to modify the cost. Okay, so we can see that by validating, we changed um, the gross margin of the project. Of course, we reduce the cost, so we increase the gross margin, and all the graphs are have been updated, and also the charts down below. We can change the level of certainty of a project. So this one project we created, we can change it to a status of maybe or very likely, or we could also delete it by shifting it rightwards. We changed it to maybe, so you can see now in the background on the main page that it has changed to the maybe section, and the graphs and the charts are only considering projects, certain projects. So let's switch back to the certain category, the confirmed category. And yes, I'm gonna add now more projects to populate the workbook. Okay, so now I've added some more projects in the all 3 categories. Um, so as you can see, we we now see some different turnovers, and the graphs look more balanced in way. You have your average gross margin per category, um, and your results after costs. And all sorts of information. We now have gross margin and turnovers that are compared with the expected budget, and now we also have a bar chart about our customers and all sorts of things. If you go on the category page, you can still see in details every project. So I've added some more in the private and internet categories. You can also have this print function on the main page. You choose if you want to print figures or charts, and the support paper or PDFs. PDF is recommended. You give it a name, click OK, and the PDF with the figures is being generated that you can then share or print. And you can do the same with the charts by clicking on charts and then print, give it a name again, and a PDF with the charts is being generated. You can do the same. You have this printing function on the category page. If you click print, you can generate a listing as a PDF or a paper. You can generate a listing with selection criteria. You can decide to print all the project with a certain product in it or a certain customer, and it will show you the turnover and the gross margin realized. As an example, let's take all the confirmed projects with all users all supplier and all customers, but with a specific product and as a PDF, and we click print, we give the PDF name, and we see all the projects which have this product in it. And we can do the same but with all the products instead, and now we see all the projects in this category. Or we can do the same but with a specific customer, for example. Alright, that was basically it. Thank you for watching, and if you encounter any problems or any bugs, feel free to contact me. Thank you.